Welcome to the State Specific Show, where we weave across the country and the world to highlight local sneaker cultures. My name is Gabriel Fortson. You can find me across all social platforms at Gabriel Fortson. Our guest tonight represents Boston, Massachusetts, by way of Long Island, New York. His pathway to success is grounded in hip hop, fashion, design, and brand leadership. He is a co founder of Extra Butter, a primary boutique in New York, and is affiliated with some of the most iconic sneaker silhouettes we have seen over the last 10 years. He is currently the senior director of global energy for Saucony. He is a hockey player and a full time family man, a great human being, and one of the best people driving the culture forward today. Please welcome Jason to the show.
Thank you, Gabriel. It's super humbling.
Uh, hey, really happy to have you here, man. It's one of those type of things where I look at who my audience can benefit from in regards to, hearing their story, some of the research that I've done and seeing your path to, where you are today. And obviously you're not done yet. You still have a whole lot more to do, but your path is, super interesting. It gives people a really, really good idea that, things can work out, even if it doesn't seem that way, currently. So really glad that you had an opportunity to come on the show.
No, I love that you started on that. It's the main reason for doing it. You know what I mean? I found my way into this industry, and it's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me, obviously, like career wise, but, um, nothing I'd rather be doing. And I think for everyone else that's hoping to get in some way, somehow, hopefully, I'm of help in any way, or at least a little bit of motivation.
Absolutely. Without a doubt, man. So we'll go ahead and jump into this thing. And, one question that I ask generally a lot that like really piques my interest is what's your first memory of having a personal connection with style and fashion within the culture?
With when it's style and fashion, I think it was my cousins. Like they lived in Queens, I lived in Long Island.
Mm.
They dressed differently than I
Okay.
saw kids in my school. You know what I mean? It was much cooler. And then I start to make connections. You start to see some of the styles that your cousins and their friends wear, and then also like, maybe a little bit represented in like music videos when, music channel showed music videos when you grow
Yeah.
up, you know what I mean? So it was through that. It was still pretty hard to find where this was represented in terms of like stores and where to shop, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But eventually found my way in in those respects. And then, I think overall, style or just something where like a look captured my attention to the fullest was, it's many people's stories as well. And I've shared it a few times now, but it was definitely Andre Agassi,
Okay.
showing up on court like that. One, you think it looks cool.
Yeah.
Two, you find out he gets in trouble for it, whether it will be Wimbledon or, just like media criticism and stuff like that. And
Right.
I'm sitting here thinking like I like the brighter pop colors, the cutoff denim, stuff like that.
Right.
Being assigned to campaigns that like emphasized his persona as a rebel through
Mhm.
Canon and obviously with Nike. So
Right.
I think that really, really shaped, like, it just fits so many things. Like, I guess part of me personally connects to that, but also, the other things I liked in life were, like, connected to that as well, like music and whatnot. I think there's a rebellious nature that I was already sort of into that I think Andre Agassi personified.
Okay. No, that's actually a great example. And, I remember those days. And if you were plugged in and noticed those things, you didn't even have to be a fan of tennis, but you saw the commercials and you saw his, like you said, his personality and the energy and, the things that he were convicted to exuded through how he dressed and how he wore his hair and the headband and, all that stuff. It just, really, really gave us some great imagery in regards to like how to be yourself, So I really dig that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so when did sneakers come into play? When beyond function, like when did you know that, okay, I kind of like sneakers beyond just putting on a pair just to run outside with?
It was that, it was AirTech Challenge too, like, the most significant, but
Okay.
around that time, there were a lot of things, I don't know my years off the top, but, like, Jordan 4s were huge, for
Mhm.
me, like, me and my neighbors, debating what to get, which one's better, white,
Yeah.
black, red, you know what I mean? But also, I specifically remember, maybe it was because I was a fan of Hakeem Olajuwon, but I remember LA Gears, like, they
Yeah.
might be clowned on now, but those were hot back then, and then there were,
Absolutely.
like, endless debates between friends of mine, LA Gears, British Knights, like, Diamond and stuff, like,
Right.
this just kind of drew me in further, it caused me to look at things, which do I like better? You're affected by the commercials, you're affected by which athletes you prefer, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then, like, overall colorways. I think LA Gears tend to have, a little bit of, like, a brighter, colors, like, with neon pops, like I said, I liked with Andre Agassi, so I remember
Right.
being a fan of that for sure.
Okay. Okay. No, that's dope. So growing up on Long Island,
Mhm.
how would you describe the style there during the time that you were growing up?
Probably no style. But, like, in pockets, little glimpses here and there, like, Long Islanders are influenced by New York City style, and
Gotcha.
oftentimes, like, I don't wanna make it like we're so disconnected from the city, because we're not,
Yeah.
especially, from a style and music standpoint. A lot of, like, hip hop's greats have
Oh
their
yeah.
origins in Long Island, whether it's
Absolutely.
Rakim, Doom, you know what I mean? Like, gosh, I'm
EPMD.
going back, but EPMD, Def Squad, yeah, exactly,
Yeah. Yeah.
Redman. Um, so, like, I think there's connections there, you know what I mean? But, from a straight up Long Island standpoint, it's not like I was saying, like, "Oh, you go to this mall and you would see people wearing this or that." It's
Mhm.
just like you'd catch glimpses through different people, and like I said, for me, it was like, cousins
Okay.
and
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So at the moment, do you consider yourself a sneakerhead? And, whether you do or don't, like, what is the most interesting cop that you think you've had, like, in your collecting period?
Um, yeah, I guess I do. I think it has a bad name sometimes, but I mean, it's just like boiled down to its simplest. I love sneakers. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I think anyone that does and cares about it more than just like foot coverings and like
Hmm.
thinks a little bit deeper. They don't have to go super into it, but no, anyone else that sees it as art, sees it as culture and all this other stuff, I think is a sneakerhead, even though they may not, define themselves as that because
Yeah.
I think they think it's too limiting. I don't call myself that either, but I like in terms of this conversation, I definitely would consider myself one. Wait, what was the other part of the question? Oh,
Um,
interesting cop, right?
uh-huh. Yeah.
Um, One shoe, I mean, I only waited outside, like, once or well, a few times, maybe, like, 2 or 3 times, but, like, one time I did, I can think of was, Yo MTV Raps Puma Clyde,
Yeah.
outside of Classic Kicks, just I don't know, like, it just stands out to me, the colors, like, I really loved Yo MTV Raps, I loved the trading cards, like, I don't
Hmm.
know if you remember they had Yo MTV Raps trading cards, but, like, an iconic kind of, like, graphic design border and,
Right.
like, just design language through the show and the trading card that I thought the shoe captured as well,
Right.
enough for me to, wait outside and try to get them, so
That had to be interesting, man.
yeah.
I'm not sure how the lines were in New York back then. I know the lines in New York now are crazy. So,
Yeah,
um,
a little bit less back then, I mean, not less back then, it was crazy in New York back then, but it was
yeah,
Puma, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It wasn't a Nike launch certainly generated, crazier lines,
mhm,
people certainly waited out for a long time. I had been, working with a friend, like, who DJs, and I was helping him with DJ stuff too, and you're kinda getting out of the club or wherever we were
yeah,
late, and we're, like, passed by the line, and it's not that long, so we were like, "Let's just stay out there." You know what I mean? Yeah.
yeah. It kind of worked out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, like right now, do you have a sneaker that you consider your go-to sneaker that you just kind of wear by default for like errands and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'd say it's, I mean, there's, like, 3, but I think if I looked I have this journal I got from Japan, or like kinda like a planner rather than a journal.
Okay.
Uh, but you can write whatever notes or journal stuff in there. But there's a section where there's like a 1 line per day, and it's a very small line. I didn't know what people used it for, but I was like, "I'm just gonna write down what sneaker I wore each day." If I looked
Yeah.
back, I think Triumph 4 would be the most. I have a
Okay.
bunch of Triumph 4s, Saucony Triumph 4s. It's kind of like, personal connection to the, brand from when I was younger and just starting out in the footwear industry, but also, currently we do well with Triumph 4s, and,
Mhm.
like, obviously there's the J Tips ones, and then West Side Gun ones, and then,
Yeah.
a bunch of inline ones I like as well. So, uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's probably my go-to right now.
Okay. Okay. And with that kind of dovetailing this question, do you have a bucket list of sneakers that you would like to reach back for, like sneakers that you may consider grails or that you never had an opportunity to pick up that you want to just reach back to get at some point?
I can't think of it, but I think if I'm being honest, and this is not to throw shade or anything, but just
Yeah.
the fact that how they kind of reissue stuff these days,
Mhm.
I don't it's sort of taken away the allure of it,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, like, I still like and admire certain shoes, but, um, I can't really think there's one shoe that I'm, like, ever think about at all about, like, wishing that I got. Like, the last one I can remember having that feeling of and not being able to get was, like, oh my gosh, Air Trainer 3 Viotech.
Okay.
And I was so crazy about getting them, and then when I got them, I just didn't like them on foot. Uh, it's so weird. I think I just admire their design and all
Mhm.
that, but it didn't, like, it didn't need it anymore. And
Yeah.
granted, I think the color was a little bit different slightly, in its reissue.
Right.
But other than that, I can't remember. That's not to say there's not shoes that I wish I can get, but there's
Mhm.
nothing that I think is on any sort of list that I keep in mind and try
Okay.
to look for or hope for every now. Maybe one is like the Nike Dunk. There's a Deftones edition. I like the Deftones, so
Okay.
when I listen to them, it's every now and then it'll pop up in my head. Those would be a pretty cool shoe if I were to get my
No doubt. Yeah, that's a good one, man. That's a good one. And it actually saves you a lot of headaches to not have that list because I've had lists before and they've decreased sleep, they've decreased my wallet, they've they've caused a lot of damage in certain areas. So, it's good not to have that list because sometimes it can drive you crazy.
Yeah, no, I know the feeling. I do think it changes a little bit
Mhm.
having had a store working for a
Yeah.
brand. You just you know what I mean? Like, you just I think your relationship with sneakers changes on that side, not in a bad
Mhm.
way, and,
Yeah.
and not to say one's better than the other, but I think when I was before I got to that part, yeah, I was on in your camp where I would lose sleep over it a little
Yeah.
bit. Have a long list of things I wished for.
Right, right. But yeah, seeing different shoes come across your desk every day, you kind of see
Mhm.
them more as part of the business versus, that
Exactly.
the I guess the hobby or whatever, the hobby that comes around it.
Right.
Um, so as most people know there are four pillars of hip hop. So there's the DJ, the MC, breakdancing, and graph or graffiti. Let's get into breakdancing for a second because this is something that I discovered about you that is super, super dope. When did you become a b-boy and what sparked that interest?
So, in college, so this is the late '90s, right? There is something I discovered at my college, like, there are 2 things I discovered. So, like, not into fraternity life or anything. I'm
Mhm.
also straight edge, so I don't drink or do any drugs or anything. So
Mhm.
it's like I lean pretty heavy into my hobbies. I had a radio show. I would play,
Okay.
hip hop and hardcore or hip hop and whatever else. So I'd split that 3 hours in half, and then eventually I found out about, a local hip hop night at, a bar called Broadway Joe's in downtown in Buffalo,
Okay.
and, it was, like, near our college campus, but it had basically, like, every Thursday, there was a different hip hop event. Sometimes it was just like DJs were playing, sometimes it was a local MC showcase,
Okay.
sometimes it was breakdancers doing their thing, sometimes there was a performance. A performance was maybe like once a month, and it was
Mhm.
anyone from Cool Herc to MF Doom before he got much, much bigger.
Wow.
I don't know, like Cannibal Ox is like another underground that I listen to. Like, there's so many, but when I discovered them, it was before I turned 21, so I couldn't even get into these bars, but a friend of mine, me and him would, like, speak to the people who threw the event and
Yeah.
ask them, can they put us on the guest list and get us in if we, like, promoted for them? So we would take their, like, show posters or, like, weekly posters each week and, like, put them up all over the place, like, all over the
Okay.
city or on campus mostly, and I remember we used to use this thing called spray adhesive. I'm sure it's probably toxic, but yeah,
Yeah.
like, put it all like, when you put this thing on, it was, like, really hard to rip these posters down and stuff, but, yeah, that's how I got into it. Like, I'd seen breakdancing the way other people did through, like,
Mhm.
movie Flash and, Beach Street a little, you know what I mean? But I wasn't
Yep.
super close to it. Seeing it up close in person the way we had at this local, like, hip hop night, it was called Baby Steps,
Okay.
that changed my mind, like, completely, or blew my mind completely because I got so close to it, I wanted to learn how to do it, you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
just I like the style, the expression of, like, I don't know, attitude and just, like,
Yeah.
flavor. Like, one of the, B-boys on the like, that would always show up there, his name was Shane from a crew called Differential Flavor. He had a class. He started, like, maybe a month or 2 before I graduated, so I only took a couple classes,
Okay.
but then, like, that plus different sessions back at home in Long Island, videos, you know, it wasn't no YouTube. So it's like
Right.
literally VHS videos and DVDs and stopping, pausing, rewind, you know what I mean? All that
No
stuff.
doubt.
Like,
Yeah.
try to learn. But I got super into it. But a funny story about that is, like, this happened the year after I graduated, or maybe it's 2 years. But after I graduated, this continued, this, baby steps continued.
Mhm.
Um, and one of their local MC showcases, I found the flyer online, but one of them has a performance with Gun and Benny, which is West Side Gun and Benny the Butcher. You know what I
Wow.
mean? So, like, one time, I'd been a fan of Griselda, and I obviously knew them because
Yeah.
a friend of mine introduced me to them. 1, knowing my taste, but 2, just having that connection to Buffalo,
Mhm.
um, like, not just college there, but I have a lot of family in Buffalo.
Okay.
Um, so then once I heard it, liked it, I was rooting for those guys, but, I never bothered to dig or ask, and I still have friends that are, or from that Baby Steps era, but I asked Westside himself, you know what I mean? I was just checking if there was crossover, and there was so much crossover as far as people we knew and, like, Buffalo references and all that stuff.
Okay.
But when we really dug into it, I had graduated before he ever performed at Baby Steps, which he said was the first time he ever was on stage with the mic, so
Really?
it's just crazy we have that, kind of, I don't know, tied together.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's dope, man. That's dope. And, for you guys to be working closely together now, promoting business and everything, I think that's awesome, bruh. That's awesome.
Yeah, to see where I mean, um, what does Biggie say? Like, "Never thought that hip hop could take it this far."
Right,
Like,
right.
it's crazy to me, see where he's at now, see where I mean, not like I'm on his level, but I get to work with him and we're working together. It's just
Okay.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're at a high level in what you do. So we won't discount that at all. I won't even let you do it.
Thank you.
So at a certain point, you actually taught breakdancing to others. Is that correct?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was a teacher in the sense that I knew like all the hardest stuff. I was more like footwork than I was like a power move person. But
Okay.
I had went to a dance studio nearby me on Long Island, and the teacher was like not good and trying to show kids like really difficult things, like head
Okay.
spins and windmills and stuff. Like,
Mhm.
not to discourage them from doing that stuff, but I just noticed, like, a lot of them couldn't even dance yet, you know what I mean? Like, so there's some top rock and six step and footwork, like, foundational stuff. Not that power is
Okay.
not foundational, but, um so I started to learn that, but, the person who ran the studio noticed that I was able to teach that stuff to other kids just by
Okay.
my way of explaining things and having patience and stuff like that. And eventually I started to teach it. And, then I had to get like, it was like simultaneously teaching myself and teaching kids,
Okay.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? So,
Yeah.
I had done, I've been to some battles, I've competed and stuff like that, not anything high level and not and whatnot, but I was always staying close to the culture and, like,
Okay.
something to this day I love dearly, so,
Wow.
yeah, I taught, but don't, don't expect me to be like, the people we see on much higher levels these days.
No doubt. Okay, I hear you. So you could do the headspins and all that stuff as well?
No, I didn't. I was actually
Okay,
not into the power as much. I was more into, like, footwork and, like,
I
more
got you.
style and, like, taking even, like, more simpler moves, but making
Mhm.
it your own.
Okay.
I was not good with power. I wish I was, but again, only so much I could learn on my own, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I never had the courage to, like, even try, to spin like that. I mean, I don't know. I didn't have it in me. Didn't
Yeah,
have it in me.
not for everyone. The ones that have it, they're special, they're super talented.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, was there a specific style that you would attribute to growing up in Long Island that may have impacted how you view sneakers and fashion today?
I don't think so. I don't think
No.
there's a specific style. Like
Okay.
I think because of like musical influences, because of
Mhm.
like movie influences, stuff like that, like I was into that stuff and but
Okay.
I don't think it was so specific or had a category, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like
Okay.
or a label. So no,
I
not
got you.
really.
Okay. And so currently today, is there like a specific style that you currently have? You like a personal style? Is there a category or,
I don't know.
yeah.
I'd love for people to like, if someone said I have a specific style and had a label for it, I'd love to know
Mhm.
what that is.
Okay.
I don't think I'm that conscious of it, not saying it to be cool, but it's like I obviously pay attention, I'm part of it, but I
Mhm.
don't think too much about it. I'm kind of always just like, I like what I like. I don't
Yeah.
care if it's in a mall, I don't care if it's on the internet, I don't care, I don't know, like, if it's from a cool store, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like,
Right.
boutique or whatever. Like, I just kind of I feel like I'm into what I'm into and
Yeah.
obviously influenced by different things from a trend
Mhm.
standpoint and, or certain designers that are big. I'm inspired by a lot of our collab partners, no lie.
Okay.
Like anytime I feel like we work with them, like that's part of it. Like if it was a brand that I would never wear myself, like I don't really think I'd be a good partner to them. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm inspired by a lot of our, collab partners that we carry or the shops that, we work with and what their brand mix is. So,
Okay.
I don't think I have a specific style, I think it's my own, but I think some d people describe as, it's, I'm not sure what the right term is, erratic, but it feels like it changes quite a bit, but
Okay.
also in a way that seems consistent to myself, so
Yeah, yeah, and, not to put yourself in a box or anything, you dress for your day, you dress how you feel for the day, if, like and I'm very similar to that because if I see a hoodie that goes with a pair of sneakers or a pair of jeans in a certain way that day, then I might just wear it, but the next day, I may not see that same vision, so I may not do it, so it's just, what makes sense for me for that particular day, you know?
agreed.
Yeah, yeah. So you're a b-boy, and then you're also a hockey player, man. Like, so with the full range of everything that you do, when did you begin playing hockey? And then with that, do you attribute some of your approach to work from hockey and like how you approach the game?
Yeah, 100%. I
Yeah.
I feel like hockey doesn't get enough credit, like
Mhm,
it's not the most diverse sport, anyone can tell you that, especially
mhm.
there's a lot of discourse about, like, with men's and women's Olympic, hockey this year,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just the coolest sport. Luckily, I grew up watching it, through my parents. They grew up as New York Islanders fans, like,
Okay.
basically, when they won 4 consecutive Stanley Cups, a record that still hasn't been broken since. They grew up during a dynasty era and raised
Okay.
me during that. I was going to games after that era,
Okay.
but, nevertheless, still a big fan. So lifelong fan. I had cousins in Buffalo actually that played. They'd even go to hockey camps where they'd have to stay over my house in Long Island and go to their hockey camps that were in New
Wow.
York and New Jersey. But I had never played, didn't have the money, didn't have the courage. I liked basketball and soccer and baseball more as from a
Okay.
playing standpoint, but I always loved hockey.
Yeah.
Um, and then, fast forward to years down the road, this is some of my time during Extra Putter, but, like, we had a close relationship with Reebok.
Okay.
We had done a number of different collabs with them, and at one point, like, have the idea, um, not just because they were my favorite team, the Islanders, but, the Islanders were moving to Brooklyn from a stadium standpoint,
Okay.
and with that, I thought there could be, this is where you can benefit from, like, pulling in a new audience. Like, I remember put together, like, a little bit of a pitch, just showing how hockey culture does connect to streetwear and hip hop
Mm,
culture, like, or pulling, images of Craig Mack wearing Tampa Bay Lightning jersey, Snoop Dogg
yeah.
wearing the Penguins jersey, you know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Even wearing the Islanders jersey, like, um, and otherwise, like the impact of Mighty Ducks, stuff
Yep.
like that. So, um, basically had while Reebok had the NHL license, basically asked if we can do a collab with the New York Islanders, and they
Wow.
said the NHL would approve, but it couldn't be an isolated, collab where we only work with the Islanders.
Okay.
So instead, my idea was, like, to get other teams involved by way of stores in their cities. So, like,
Okay.
Major in DC had connected them to this Reebok, the Reebok team we were working with, and they got to work with the Capitals. Like, Burn Rubber got to work with the Red Wings.
Mhm.
Bait got to work with the Los Angeles Kings. So,
Okay.
yeah, I was, just sort of behind the scenes kind of, like, pushing for these things to happen. But yeah, eventually we had our own New York Islanders Reebok Ventilator Supreme,
Wow.
and we did a small Mitchell and Ness, capsule, and it was, yeah, dream come true project for me. Still a diehard fan, but then to watch players get involved, like, these were guys that, started shopping at the store, like,
Mhm.
would wear our apparel and obviously wear the shoes and stuff,
Okay.
um, to do successful launches. It was really cool. Anyway, so at that point, my friend Alex James, who is the founder or co-founder of the brand Pleasures, most people know that streetwear brand,
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
maybe, yeah. I don't know how to describe them, but they're a brand, and I think this was before Pleasures, actually. I think he was with the brand Publish, but either way, he connected me with a guy named Evan who ran a magazine and did all sorts of other creative stuff. But he had a small local, like, hockey/lifestyle magazine called Snipe Town,
Okay.
and we had met. Yeah, Alex just wanted to connect us, and, in our meeting and him learning more about my whole Islanders project and stuff like that, he asked me why I never played hockey, and I said the same thing I said to you. I'm like, didn't have money,
Yeah.
I can't skate, like, ice skating is impossible. He's like, "You never skated?" I'm like, "I did at, like, a friend's birthday party or 2, but, I'm holding the side and everything, you know what I mean? I
Right,
can't
right.
skate." And I can't skate now because I'm older at this point. I was 38 at that point, and
Wow.
he was older than me and he told me he played. And I was like, wait, really? And he was like, yeah, I only recently learned. He said his son learned. So then he picked it up too. And I was like, "That's crazy." And he said, "Would you ever learn?" He was like, "What if we did a story on you learning? You're this guy that's in the whole sneaker streetwear zeitgeist or whatever you want it.
Yeah.
It'd be an interesting story to show." He was like, "If you can get yourself some of the gear, like skates and stuff," he's like, "I'm pretty sure I can get through the magazine like some of the gear as well to." Help you along, like just get you to try it. Take one lesson and let us
Right.
do a story on you. And
Okay.
we did. But like I remember like well, first of all, my friend had bought me a stick like just prior to that. And I remember loving the feeling like as an
Mhm.
adult of, messing around with a stick. It wasn't like a rubber ball you would shoot around when you were a kid, but
Right.
like using pucks that are, better made to work on non-ice surfaces. But anyway, like, so I was like interested, but yeah, putting the whole thing on, like I was a little intimidated. Of course, like again, didn't really know how to skate, but I took one lesson with he was the head coach of NYU at the time. They
Okay.
had got to do a lesson with me. I was probably terrible. I was terrible, but putting on the whole gear and getting on ice, I fell in love. Like,
Wow.
after that, I dedicated my time, in classes, in my own you know what I mean? I would just go out on my own, like, learn nonstop.
Okay.
Like, I
Okay.
still feel like I am like, I play 3 times a week now. I'm on teams, like or, like, a team,
Yeah.
but I take, lessons and everything to try to get better.
Wow.
It's like an obsession. That's why we're also stopping this at 9 o'clock, by the way.
Yeah.
What it teaches me at work I mean, first of all, I think hockey, similar to soccer, is, like, really ultimate team sport. It's very
Yeah.
hard to, like, kinda take over a game as an individual. Obviously, individuals can shine, but,
Yeah.
they're both, like, assist heavy sports and
Yeah.
like I don't know
Absolutely.
like I'm an assist person like I do well for myself there and led our league and assist a couple times you know what I mean like
Okay.
I'm just I think that fits my personality and what I do now as far as
Mhm.
working collaboration part I want our collab partners to shine and be the ones to
Yeah.
score and achieve their goals and stuff and I'm there to help so there's that way but
Mhm.
ultimately, like, it teaches me a lot about how teams function.
Yeah.
Hockey is humbling in that way. You can't take over the whole game yourself. You gotta work with your teammates, you gotta lift them up, you gotta support them, you gotta be there for them.
Mhm.
In hockey, you don't stay on the ice the whole time, you keep, like, going on and off over the boards and, like,
Okay.
sitting on the bench, coming back out, like, it teaches you about, like, pacing yourself with things,
Mhm.
um, and again, yeah, that ultimate, like, I guess, like, camaraderie and well, actually, my biggest thing sorry, I can go on for hockey about hockey forever, so I'll cut it now, but, like, the biggest thing that I'm into is, like, chemistry. So,
Okay.
like, I really just, like, study and analyze, like, other players I play with to the
Yep.
point where it starts to like, I want to be able to, like if I know them well, I'll be able to be a good teammate to them,
Mhm.
not just as, like, a person, but, like, be able to get them the puck in the best situations or receive the puck from them in the best situations, like,
Right.
just I don't know, I believe in that, like, line chemistry or how players can work off one another.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah. I guess the basketball equivalent would be like Stockton and Malone. That's an old reference, and I hate both of them, but, it was the first one to come to mind.
Right.
Um, uh, they, but yeah, I think that's I approach collaboration partners the same way as
Okay.
far as looking for that chemistry, develop like, investing my time to developing that chemistry and building that relationship so we could perform well together, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And do our
Absolutely.
thing.
Yeah. I believe in that 100%. I coach softball and I
Mm.
tell my parents all the time, and I also tell the girls on the team is that I've won more games from chemistry than I have talent.
Oh, I
And
love that.
yeah. And when we
I'd love
can,
to hear more of your philosophy with that.
absolutely. And it works. And, when you buy in, and you allow the chemistry to take over, then the girls start to kind of see it manifest, and I use that word, in the true sense of like what it did. Um, but it's an amazing thing, and we can talk more about it, offline or something like that. But it's something that I live by, and it works in softball, but it also works with my team at work. We're able to succeed. I tell everybody we're in the same boat, rowing in the same direction. So we're gonna get to the destination together.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
never-ending lesson, right? Like,
yeah,
it teaches me nonstop, yeah.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So you may have already answered this, but I'm gonna ask
Mhm.
specifically so we can make sure we got the right answer on this. What part of New York is the most stylish, in your opinion?
I don't know. When I was younger, it seemed like Queens to me, but
Mhm.
again, that was where my cousins were at, but, um, now, I don't know, it's stylish everywhere, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? From a
Yeah,
borough standpoint, like, um, yeah, Brooklyn, Queens, obviously Manhattan,
yeah,
uh, those are the ones I'm most familiar with,
okay,
but you see stylish people downtown more. It's, to me, a little bit more inspiring when I'm downtown New York
mhm,
City.
yeah,
Um, yes, Soho, but Lower Side, all over, you know.
gotcha.
When I was when I was living there, I used to, like, below 14th Street, I used to say it's, like, still really stylish the higher you go up. Less, but I think that's changed as well. It's a little
Mhm.
bit more stylish throughout.
Yeah.
And
Become homogenous a little bit, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I know I always gravitate when I come to New York to the LES, and,
Mm,
that's just kinda where I kinda feel the energy of people being organic and kinda being themselves a whole lot.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So, when you graduated from the University of Buffalo, how did your journey lead you from being a social work major to fashion in the fashion space?
Yeah, this is one of those, like, follow your passion stuff, and I don't know, somehow works out.
Mhm.
Like, also adding, I don't wanna skip the part where you have to dedicate and make sacrifices and work
Yeah.
work your ass off, but,
Right.
for me, like, the quickest version of it, I was a social worker. I had different programs. Some of them were recreational, like, yeah, after school breakdancing programs. Some of
Mhm.
them, were working with, people that were, I don't know, troubled or, like,
Mhm.
had some stuff going on.
Yeah.
Um I had, someone in my program that worked at a sneaker store that was
Okay.
nearby the park that I would practice breakdance at. So, I'd stop at this store, a local mom and pop shop, before sessions, breakdance session or, like, after, whatever, and me and him would get into it talking about shoes. Like, he was more of an Air Force guy, I was more of a Dunk and Nike Vandal guy.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
would, you're kinda arguing, but not really, you know what I mean? And one day he's kinda like, I had left that job, at social work. I was, supposedly, um well, I was taking courses and stuff, but, like, I was gonna go get my master's, you know what I mean? But I had to
Yeah.
study for GREs first.
Right.
But in the meantime, because I was, leaving social work, he had told me to just apply to that store, and I was
Okay.
like, I mean, not the thing my parents would be excited about doing with my college degree, working for minimum wage at a sneaker store, but I
Yeah.
did. He introduced me to the owners, I met them, I started working probably the Monday after. Um, yeah, crash course in the sneaker industry because you are, helping customers.
Yep.
Luckily, they would have me kind of sit in when we're, like, meeting with sales reps and doing some buying.
Wow.
Um, back, what do you call it? Like, stock room, like, managing
Mhm.
inventory,
Mhm.
uh, fulfillment. They had a little website and stuff. Um, yeah, scheduling, like, yeah,
Wow.
every aspect of it, you know what I mean? Like, merchandising, creating displays, visuals, like, yeah, I feel like I, like, learned every aspect of it, and I still maintain to this day, like, if you can work for a shoe store that allows you to touch different areas of the business and learn
Yeah.
different areas of the business while you work there, while you get paid to work there,
Mhm.
that's the best thing you could possibly do. And so many of this industry's greats come from similar stories, starting in a stockroom, starting on the sales floor, and
Right.
all their way up. So I think it's tried and true. Um, but yeah, that's how I ended up getting in.
Okay. No, I love that, man. It's,
Sorry, the extra butter part came because sorry, I went it was like for a cousin's bridal shower or something in Las Vegas. And I had done my research on Nike Town, like what are the stores to like visit while you're I mean Nike Talk. What are the
uh-huh.
stores to check out while you're there? And one of them was called Fruition, still called Fruition. And I had met the people there. It wasn't just sneakers, it was more like vintage at the time. They do a bunch of other things.
Okay.
And I'm still close with the founders today. They're like close things I've ever had to mentors, or I'd call them mentors as well.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, in an odd turn of events, I got stuck at the store for a little bit. A cab didn't pick me up. Me and my sister were there for a while. We had made a connection. Fast forward, I don't know, a year or two later, and we bump into each other at Supreme. I just happened to, when my days off from working at the sneaker store, I would go to the city and just like
Mhm.
go to all the shops and stuff. I was taking notes. I was thinking of
Okay.
like what I would do if I ever opened a store. I run
Wow.
into them. They just happen to be, checking out stuff in New York.
Yeah.
They didn't know where all the stores were. I did. I'm being from New York. They asked me to take them around and we became friends. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They told me about a trade show called Magic at the time, like,
Yeah.
there's other trade shows, but, like, if I could ever get there, that's where it all happens, that's where you learn everything, that's where you meet and acquire brands to carry in a store.
Yeah.
Told me what it would take to own a store, you know what I mean? But it was those conversations with the people I worked with that led to a partnership because I had to ask them for permission to like get my own business card so that I can get access to attending these trade shows. And then
Okay.
from there, they were like, "Why? Why? Why do you even want to do that?" And I was like, "Well, I have this idea for a store,
Mhm.
which ends up being extra butter." It was, again,
Wow.
like inspired by my love for movies and spending you know, like half my time in college, like falling in love with movies and that being like my sanctuary.
Right. Right. Okay. No, that's excellent. So
Yeah.
you guys became business partners and co-founded Extra Butter together. And I've been in Extra Butter. Now the location that is in now, was that the location that it was there when you left? Is it a different location?
It was there when we left,
Okay.
when I left, Lower
Okay.
Side, but not the other location. But yeah, opened the first one in 2007 in
Okay.
Rockville Center, Long Island. Again, just sort of bringing what we saw in the city out to Long Island and doing it,
Mhm.
our way, a little bit differently. Plus, taking a little bit of more time to learn the business, like learn how to run it
Yeah.
before going to the city where everything moves faster and there's
Yeah.
so much more happening with it. But yeah, I had left in 2017, 2018, basically after 10 years.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. And it's a incredible store. I went to the one in LES, and, just the aesthetic of it all and just kind of the feel that you get when you walk into that store. And just knowing that, you were, a part of the foundation of making that work and, creating what is really a world renowned store, right? I mean, it's that name is known worldwide, and what you guys were able to do there, that's super dope and incredible.
Appreciate it. It's
Yeah.
definitely nice to see. I don't know. I have a different relationship with it now, obviously, but
Mhm.
um, I just think that things I'm into are like I'm gonna leave my fingerprints on it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
when I get into something, I get super into something, and you're gonna feel that energy or see that. I don't know, visually or through its
Mhm.
aesthetics, one way or the other.
No doubt. No doubt. Um, so in that and starting a boutique from scratch, right? From nothing, like creating everything about it. What were some of the most impactful experiences or opportunities, at Extra Butter that helped shape you and into the industry leader that you are today?
I think it's just, when you have this passion for it and you care like community, you just like pick up on, maybe this is because I'm Pisces, or maybe I just pay attention to what people are saying
Mhm,
on forums and also obviously inside the store. But you get a sense of what people are looking for, what people want.
mhm.
There were just ways, there still are, obviously, but there were so many ways back then that I think the sneaker industry needed to take the next steps. Sneakers
Okay.
and streetwear. And I just consider like, well, one, we have a business to run, but two, like my passion is like maybe we should solve for that stuff, things will
Yeah.
be better off.
Right.
Um, I remember just like it was so hard to find images of shoes that weren't really bad, like images that were taken out of a catalog or,
Yeah.
or screenshot from somewhere maybe. Like I don't
Sure.
it was just really bad. But, one thing we started doing at Extra Butter, I wish this could all be backtracked to like what boutiques did back then, but through our blog, was doing our own photo shoots, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like the version of what people like AD Sneaks, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And like
Yeah. Shout out to
uh
Andy.
my guy, yeah, my guy Riblets, or like
Gilbert. Yeah.
everyone, Arab Lincoln, like there's so many. I could go on
Yeah.
forever, right? Versions of what they've mastered today and perfected. You know what I mean? We were doing that, shoes on foot, just kind of like beauty shots of shoes to
Mhm,
it was our only way to get onto blogs and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like
mhm.
if Fresh Kicks Mag, Sneaker News Mag, those type of sites, Hype Beast, at the time were only getting bad images from brands. Brands probably didn't have those relationships or didn't have the images of the shoes to share, or maybe couldn't share it. We
Right.
were taking a little bit better photos of that stuff that they liked putting on their blog, and then I mean, that was also my way of letting the world know that we existed and you can call in and place a phone order before we had a website you could purchase from, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
S
No doubt.
um, yeah, I forgot what the question was at this point, but that's how it got it started. And like, um well, some of the best experiences obviously were the community I've developed. Like some of the friends I've met through there are my
Mhm.
close friends to this day.
Yeah.
I love doing all the collaboration stuff. Obviously, I think that gave me a leg up into what I do now, and a ton of
Absolutely.
learning experiences that like will just last forever to me, both in terms of like how I feel about them, but also in terms of like what it's taught me.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, truly an amazing experience. And then, I guess one other thing I think about, like, yeah, I had partners, but I was definitely doing every aspect of the business and like fully shaping its brand, like that teaching. And then,
Mhm.
while it was so good and something has like instilled entrepreneurship in me, it
Yeah.
also probably spoiled me because like, when I approach things, I want to do it I won't say like my way, but without
Yeah.
like a lot of boundary or borders, you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
because
Yep.
that's the sort of imaginary, person, or, the creative entrepreneurial spirit I must have. And when you get a taste of being able to do that without rules or too
Yep.
much like, um, I don't know, guidance, or like it's just like something you become addicted to and learn how to work with,
Yep.
and then, in what I do now, fight for that for others. I want to be
Okay.
able to make sure, the people I work with get to cook the way they want and create the way that's in their mind, that's in their spirit, so
That's dope, man. For you to have had that ability for what I call discovery, and then for you to give your people, that opportunity to have that free range of discovery as well. I think that's dope because that's how you figure out the unknown, right? That's how you unlock that next thing, is that you don't have that boundary, that you have the freedom and the backing to just go down that path and just kind of see what happens. So I think that's dope. Um, so when did Saucony become an option, and what were the circumstances that brought you two together?
Yeah, I mean, I think the relationship existed because I had been working as a collab partner for Saucony through my time at Extra Butter.
Okay.
Um, you know, there I go on forever naming people, but, like, at one point, it was Bima, who we all know and love
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Shout out Beamer.
Also, forever eternally thankful to Eric Smolin. He was the product line manager at the time.
Okay.
He brought me in. He called me one day. I was doing my own thing, consultant and, like, creative consultant work. I call my company Universal Magnetic. At the
Hmm.
time, I was helping a store sort of redefine their look, their brand, essentially try to get higher status as a Nike account before Nike went and closed them and all these other people.
Right.
But yeah, I like that stuff. I like strategically positioning brands, et cetera, et cetera. So I was doing that, behind the scenes a little bit. Um, the day Eric had called and said that there was a marketing position opening up, and I didn't know anything about marketing from like a classically trained sort of way.
Okay.
But I learned over time and working here that I did know marketing because I was doing it out of necessity, had extra
Yep.
butter. I just wasn't doing it with the same sort of, I guess, like playbook or upbringing that other classically trained marketers do.
Right.
But I would argue that gave me an edge to
Yeah.
them on them,
Yep.
like I have my own cheat codes and ways to move faster or
Hmm.
scrappier. And I've also found people, maybe that's law of attraction, but who move similarly, like Minted New York, like they don't have that training, I
Yeah.
think Marcus is just kind of tapped in. He's brilliant, but he's tapped in. He has good instincts. He has excellent taste, and he's able to be brilliant at marketing because of that, even without any like legitimate schooling for it, as far as I know.
Right, right. No, yeah, I like that, and sometimes because I always like go back to like guerrilla marketing. It's like yeah, there's all these classical ways of doing things, but sometimes people want a handbill. Sometimes people want to have the information where they can see it in a different form than just something that pops across their screen on IG or something like that. So no, I
Right.
do love that. And thinking about back to those times when you first started, in marketing with the brand, like what were some of the challenges like as you kind of matriculated in that role? Like what stands out to you as far as like, hey, it's something new for me, it's something different, and um, this is something that I, really got to key into in order to get to the next level.
The challenges were like probably any other corporate challenges, but
Mhm.
I mean, if I learned it, I think anyone else can. So I would hope nobody should be intimidated by it. But like, I didn't, and maybe some might argue I still don't operate with much structure, um, and like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, calendars and just like presentations and
Yeah.
all that stuff. I can do them now and all that stuff, but like, I don't know. I was operating without that. It was all in my mind. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Those were challenges. And then obviously other things, politically inside of corporations and the
Yeah.
navigating that world as someone that's, you know, like viewed as alternative, whether
Mhm.
it be because, color of my skin, race,
Mhm.
ethnicity, background,
Yep.
but also just experience. Like even though you work for a footwear brand, you'd come to be surprised how few people actually have lived it or have a
Yeah.
diehard passion the way you do for it. So
Right. Right.
it's interesting. I mean, not to say no one does. There's plenty of people that do at footwear brands, but not everyone does. So
Okay.
it came with its challenges for sure. And then in the very beginning, at least, I wouldn't say it's imposter syndrome. I don't even believe in that, but it's just like I was strategically like cautious in the beginning because it's like, what do I know about this? I don't know what it's like
Mhm.
on the inside. So I took my time. So I
Yeah.
think that's a good thing. But at the same time, I would, like, encourage people, like, you can go faster. You do know this stuff. You know it
Yeah.
very well, actually. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just to finding what ways to apply what you know to what you're doing now and like the goals of the brand, et cetera, et cetera. That's where all the figuring out and all the challenges are, I think. But those are all good things. They help you grow and learn and reframe a lot of the things that you know so well,
Mhm.
to make them even more powerful or apply to what you are being paid to do.
No doubt. No doubt. Absolutely. And, we see the word energy a lot these days in regards
Mm.
to, the corporate models and stuff like that. Define energy and like what does that look like from a brand perspective?
I know, oh, it's so fun. I don't really think much about it, but whenever I tell people the title, they go like, "Ooh," like they love that title, and I just think it's funny because,
Yeah.
I mean, to this day, I can for sure pull up my Gmail and I'll have like LinkedIn notifications from people from like solar energy or like some other aspect of like science energy. I told
Yeah.
Haas that, and he was dying laughing, like he couldn't believe that. I was like, that's where it's a little confusing. Like I'm not really you know what I mean? My LinkedIn is, like, off in that way, but I don't
Yeah.
care. But for me, what I really love about it is energy is just straight up, like, forget all the industry term and, like, how it's become a little bit, like, buzzword and
Mhm.
whatnot, but energy is a feeling, right? You
Yeah.
feel energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Energy is, like, the feeling behind something that's how I'm wired through and through. Again, from astrology standpoint, because I'm Pisces, but you know what I mean? I'm more inclined to think about how something feels to someone
Yeah.
rather than um, the metrics and numbers and data and statistics behind it, not fully discounting that.
Right.
But it's not everything. And one thing you can never discount especially once you experience, is energy. People
Mm.
will tell you and never forget how some things feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Certain especially
Yeah.
when they hit right, but you might forget what the, sales figure or what
Yep.
the metrics were on a social post in the like, whatever.
Right.
Uh, but not the way it felt, not the way it felt for people that saw it for the first time or when you got to show it for the first time or
Mhm.
whatever, or
Yeah.
how it was when you from that point of the journey towards all the way to the point where you purchase the shoe and all those other experiences. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's my relationship with energy.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's dope. That's dope. Um, and as we, kind of get towards the end of this, there's a couple things that we have to discuss, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, for the last several years, we have seen you directly affiliated with one of the most impactful designers of a generation. When did you first meet J Tips, and when did you two know that your alignment related to brand direction was a perfect formula to success? Because you guys work great together. Like it was just obvious for everybody.
I love that, and thank you. I cherish my relationship with Jay, who's become a brother. I don't have a brother. I have a younger sister.
Mhm.
Jay is probably one of the closest people in my life ever that I can consider like a brother to me.
Mhm. Okay.
Um, When did I meet him? I don't know if it was COVID or just before COVID. He's better at knowing some of those details, but we had met on Zoom, so I think it's COVID.
Okay.
Um, our head of product at the time said he had a former, he used to work at Nike, and he had a colleague, also former Nike, that asked if I'd be interested in talking with Jay Tips. I didn't even have this like role of collab energy person yet. It didn't
Okay.
exist but he knew I was trying to navigate that space and try to move the brand in a different direction, expanding from like projects with stores and boutiques and instead to like creators and musicians and artists and stuff like that.
Okay.
So he asked me if I ever heard of J Tips, and I remember smiling like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of J Tips." Like, I see him doing his thing in New York. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hadn't gotten any of his hats, but and
Yeah.
especially there are more Yankees than Mets stuff. I'm a Mets fan, underdog through and through. But
Right.
yeah, I love his energy. I love his work. Like you could see his eye for color a million miles away.
Mhm.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? And then talking to him, like the way Jay is, anyone who's met him, right? Like his energy comes across right away.
Yeah.
His value as a great human being comes across right away. So
Mhm.
those were those things, you know. I loved his hunger. I loved his desire. I love that he's a dreamer, you know, and had
Yeah.
big aspirations for this industry. It was fairly early. I don't say like right after that meeting or anything. It was when his shoe was coming together at some point, not just when the shoe came together, probably getting that first sample back.
Mhm.
And even though I know it said it on the CAD and stuff, but seeing the shoe and I don't know, everything clicked, getting to know
Yeah.
him more and seeing Remember Who Fronted like come to life in
Right,
person,
right, right.
it like gave me chills. It's because I like knew at that moment, I was like, I already knew this project's gonna be good, but I think this guy's gonna be a star. You know what I
Wow.
mean? Like, I
Wow.
just think that people are gonna identify with this message. He had some other phrases or slogans he was like sorting through,
Mhm.
but I asked him like, "Can we go with this one?" because
Okay.
it just resonated deeply to me, and I thought it would resonate with others, and I believe it did.
It did, yep.
Um, but yeah, that was the start of it. I'm so thankful. You know, our colleagues have brought us together. So thankful he took a chance with Saucony. It was easy, you know, in my opinion, easiest decision in the world from a personal standpoint to want to work with him.
Okay.
But a little bit difficult on the inside because, you know, gosh, for the first year or so, even around the time his shoe came out, people would say, I don't know who Jay Tips is. Like, who is he? Or he's not global, or he's not this or that. I was like, just watch. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I knew who I was working with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's dope that you were able to kinda see it from the beginning, and it came true right before all of our eyes, right? I mean, we all watched it happen, and, just that, meteoric rise to where he is now. And it wasn't just an individual that leveled up, right? It was also the brand leveled up in some really incredible ways, right? It became a household name for some people that may have not necessarily looked at him at a Saucony outside of the function of running, right? It's a lifestyle shoe as well, and there's a lot of things that you can do with it. There's a lot of opportunities for the collab and making a shoe speak in a language that you wanted to speak in without it being just limited to being a runner. So you guys did some incredible things through that journey, and I got to say hats off to both of you, and congrats on everything that you were able to accomplish.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
He is integral to my success, the brand success. I like to think we were to his as well.
Yeah.
It's truly like the combination chemistry, two good entities and people coming
Yeah.
together. And not just me, the entire team that worked closely with him, just integral to the whole process, as his team as well, who I love dearly.
Yeah. Yeah. Always good people. So, not sure how much you can discuss this part, but with the recent announcement of Jay's deal with Nike, does he still have the option of continuing to build and develop products with Saucony?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, he's my brother, like, at
Mm.
this point, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
as long as I'm here, that and, even if I wasn't, I think he's made such an impact with so many individuals at the brand, that door is probably open to him forever, you know what I mean? As
Good.
long
Good.
if it's part of his journey, we'll be part of, you know, we would be part as well, like, yeah, like, one thing I know is, like, we'll be able to cook together, so you know what I mean? Like, I'm
Right.
happy for him, you know, like, he
Yeah.
knows this, I don't have to say it any further than that, but, like,
Mhm.
me, you know, team I work with closely in leadership, the team in product and, like, that works so, you know, intimately with his shoes, and
Mhm.
those are, like, some of the best, like, sessions and work days of your life, like, working with him as he's cooking and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like forever connected with one another, you know what I mean? We'll
Yeah.
forever be wishing the best for him, like,
No
we'll
doubt.
always want him to achieve his dreams one way, shape, or form. Would it never get in the way of that? Yeah, so
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay doesn't I don't know how much he's expressed of it or not,
Mhm.
out loud, but, like, none of this is easy for him. Like, chasing a
Right.
dream comes with heavy price, comes with heavy sacrifice, comes with
Yep.
tough decision making.
Yep.
Life will tell you that in so many ways based on, like, connections and relationships and stuff like that, but,
Right.
I'm just glad I'm at a point like, different place in life, and I truly believe it's also a result of the people I'm surrounded by at Saucony, like,
Mhm.
um, just, being into things, like, humbly and holistically and for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Um, you know, happy for Jay. Always would, welcome the opportunity to work together again. I can think back to younger years when I'd probably be bitter about something like this. I'd be a little bit short-sighted about,
Right. Right.
taking this turn or that turn, but, again, testament of the brand, but also a testament to Jay's I mean, the character, his character,
Mhm.
his, human being is like I mean, wouldn't want it any other way.
Absolutely. No, that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
Well, that announcement, happened and everything, but while all that was going on, I'm hoping that everybody's paying attention because I've seen so many incredible ads about new products and releases at Saucony. Tell us about your current direction and some of your big campaigns or initiatives that might be underway or about to take place really soon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to overstate it, although I'm tempted to. I connected. I was in the Philadelphia for a half marathon. Saucony was sponsoring.
Mhm.
I connected with Ashley Simone, or I think it's Not Your Average Jane on Instagram.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I
She's
know her.
great and one of the most stylish people I've ever met
Absolutely,
and
for
seen.
sure. Yeah.
But yeah, she's cool as hell, and it was on that day where the news broke and we were talking about it, and she was like, "Oh, I'm seeing some of these comments, this and that." I was like, "Yeah, I've seen some of this here and there." And she just said, like, "If people think this was like some fumble or like Saucony's gonna fall off," she's like, "You haven't been paying attention." And I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, "You don't need to tell me that." You know what I mean? But it's in my blood. Like again, I mentioned Mets fan, Islander fan. These are the secondary teams of like the
Mhm.
New York, like bigger teams or more prominent, like fan favorite types. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I'm an underdog. Like I got no other way to be. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Used to like a star player leaving my team for the bigger team, or used to you know what I mean? Like the big free agent signing going to the Yankees instead of the Mets. You know what I
Right,
mean? As
right,
far back as when A-Rod signed with the Yankees. You know what I mean? Like this is
right.
just it's like nothing to me. Like it's literally just like everyday life. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Um, where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So I was saying like I think many people at Saucony embrace that. We are a challenger brand. We are an underdog brand.
Mhm.
Maybe less of one because of our work with Jay and others.
Mhm.
But we just keep on. We make good product at the end of the day. Like
Yeah.
there's a slogan. I know Drew from like he formerly of Bodega. He's doing his own thing now.
Mhm.
He designed a lot of the Bodega Saucony collabs as well as Bodega many other brand
Okay.
collabs.
Okay.
He had highlighted that on one of our vintage boxes in the early 2000s, like, there's a thing on the I call it the spine of the box, like, back part of the box where it says, "Quietly making shoes since 1898," and, like, I love that
That's
because
awesome.
that's how this brand operates. Like, there's
Yeah.
people been at the brand 2 months, there's been people been at the brand 20 plus years who just have their head down and love what they're doing and
Mhm.
making good product, and,
Yeah,
I don't know, it's like the work will speak for itself, but
for sure.
from what I do standpoint, from an energy standpoint, it's letting our partners cook. And I'm obviously excited for the way our partners have fallen in love with product and how
Yeah.
they take to it as far as their design work, their storytelling, their connection to community.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I think like earlier this year, I mean, just as of recent 316, yeah, I mentioned my upbringing before, but like when I was going to those trade shows, I had trouble getting streetwear brands to sell me their product to a store that didn't even exist yet.
Okay.
I'm just unknown and I'm
Yeah.
not even
Yeah.
in New York City. 316 not only took a chance on me, but they introduced me to the reps and got me meetings with Ten Deep and Mishka, who were vital to my success, vital to the what we know of streetwear culture today.
Okay.
Uh, and just yeah, like huge relationship builder. Getting those brands kind of open doors to other brands that you're carrying from a footwear and from a clothing standpoint.
Right.
Working with 316 was great. We're going to continue working with them. Minted New York, I love those guys to death. Like they're just, I am so inspired by what they do and how
Mhm.
they do it. They're calling it chromium, but they've got this like dripped out silver version of a running shoe, Endorphin Pro 5, that is getting like insane response right now.
Yeah, I've seen that. That shoe is beautiful, man.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful work by them and
Yeah.
our product team.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like I had not just fan, but like West Side Gun is just truly like such a special thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm the luckiest person in the world to work with him. Because what I learned from him as a man, as a I don't know what to call it. There's only he always says there's only one West Side Gun, you know, the way he thinks, the way he approaches things, whether it's his music, his and they're all interwoven. Music, his wrestling, his design work for his apparel, his shoes, like it's incredible.
Yeah.
And there's some new ones on the horizon too. Like I introduced Meta Girl last year. I mean, people knew her, but
Yeah.
introduced by way of like working with Saucony.
Okay.
There's a couple other new ones in the mix this year that I'm excited for. Like just for them to be able to do their thing and see how people respond to it.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, I got to
Yeah.
show this before we get out of here. This is what I wore today. This is from
Oh, that's one of mine. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah, from Chrome
Ashley wore
21.
that on last week when I saw her in Philly. That's funny.
Really? Yeah. Ashley's my girl, man.
It is
She's a solid earth.
I don't get to cook product too much these days because I work with other people, artists and their products. But
Yeah.
that was one I did, and I like, yeah, I love that. It's a favorite pair of mine, and
Yeah, it is an incredible shoe. Like everything about it is great. Like there's nothing bad about that shoe at all.
yeah, the
Yeah.
team killed it, and it's inspired by so many other people's works all
Mhm.
combined into one. So it's really like I don't know, this is a really special one.
No doubt. Food fight. So, hey, we made it to the end. So I want you to like plug yourself, tell people, where they can find you, how they can support you, and then we'll let you get out of here.
Yeah, Gabriel, thank you. First of all, I
Mhm.
really, really appreciate you letting me speak to my work, my career, my background, my passions.
Yeah.
I truly I don't take it lightly. I appreciate that platform. As I've gotten older, I'm proud of the life I've lived, and
Oh, yeah.
if anyone's actually interested in and like taking from it in any way, I'm happy to share. So thank you for that.
No. Yeah, you're welcome.
Where to find me? Instagram is probably the easiest. Uh, which is but it's universal magnetic dot JF13. A lot of people just say thought it was as
Yeah,
if,
yeah.
when you're thinking, but yeah,
Right.
universal magnetic dot JF13 on Instagram, or my name on LinkedIn or wherever else. Like
Okay.
I I don't think I'm that hard to find.
Okay. Yeah. No, you are definitely in the culture, a part of the culture, and one of the people that we look to continue to lead the culture forward. So, thank you so much for your time. You are an icon in the culture, man. So I want to make sure that I say that out loud, because what you're doing, like, what you have done even over the last 5 years has taken what we like live and breathe and eat every day. You've taken that to a point to where so many more people can appreciate it, and it's made the landscape so much more diverse in regards to how we are able to enjoy the culture. So thank you so much for everything that you've done for us, and we're gonna continue to look for great things coming from you.
We'll keep growing this thing together. And one last thing I'd say, if anyone hears this and attends or is thinking about attending Black Footwear Forum, first of all, attend that.
Yes.
Second of all, let's meet each other there. I met Gabriel through that,
Yeah,
and so many
absolutely.
other people, and I that's my favorite thing that happens in our industry. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm encouraging everyone to go and meet one another.
Gotta do it. Gotta do it. It's so unique to the point where you've never experienced anything like that ever if you've never gone before. So I agree with that 100%. All right. Well, until next time, want to say thank you again, Jason, and we're gonna see you soon. Okay. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, brother. I
All
appreciate
right.
it.